Hello, everyone. So, had a funny thing just happen to me. I just broadcast this for about 30 minutes, and it's been a while since I've broadcast on, in general. So, this is on my PS5, and apparently, even though my headset microphone was a-okay because I've been using it. I was just talking to someone in a party chat before I started this, but in the actual broadcast setting, for some reason on the PlayStation, I was muted. So I had this 30 minutes of wasted time. I've had worse, but still not fun. So, anyways, I'll try not to be as in depth as I was this time because now I'm kind of less passionate now. But anyways, this is Baldur's Gate 3. I've been really looking forward to playing this game. And I'm a huge fan of RPGs in general. I've recently gotten more into Dungeons and Dragons the past 2 years or so. It's a lot of fun. I'm a fan of Larian Studios, who got the opportunity to make this game. They made Divinity 1 and 2 and a few other games, but those are the ones that I mainly know them from. And so I'm very happy for them that they got involved in a D&D licensed game like Baldur's Gate. And I've been hearing amazing reviews from critics and players alike. And I'm very happy to hear, like I said once again, that they're finding success in this game. So what I was saying in the previous video is this video it won't be as long as some of the others probably. But that's because there is an opening to this game that you got to see for the story for it to matter. But when I get to the create a character process, there is a part where you can see your character nude and edit their genitalia. So that's actually something that obviously I can't show on stream, or else I could get in trouble. So don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the stream go, and I'm going to show the opening. And when I get to the character creator, I'll go through it a little bit and just show you guys a little bit of all the details that you can select from. And then I'll probably end the stream, go through all the choices, because, this process can be quite long. The Starfield one wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but this one I know is going to be very detailed. So I'll probably create the character and then start the stream back up. Without further ado, let's check out this opening together. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the fantasy settings, this creature is a mind flayer. They have psychic abilities, and they're named appropriately because they do flay your mind. They mess with your mind. Can't really go into many details about their actual abilities, but anything mentally based, they kind of mess with you. In some fantasy settings, it might be visions, nightmares, anything from like paralysis, all sorts of things. this Mind Flayer seems to be doing something a little bit more physical instead of mental. That is a very nasty creature, and it's going, yep, right into the eyeball there. That would be very uncomfortable. Okay, so here's the character creation screen. Let's see. I want to make sure, just real quick, that my audio is working properly this time. So just all right, everything's going on with my volume. Let's see. Want to make sure the game volume is working well so that you guys can hear anything. Because I'm already impressed, like with the music and stuff. It's got some very nice music. So I'm just going to make sure all my sound settings are as good as I can get. Let's see, sound, audio balance. Let's see. Okay. So, the neat thing about this game is that we have, you can create your own character from scratch, custom character, or you can also select from characters that they have created in the game. These are characters that when you're playing with, that you can recruit them. And obviously, as I'm showing you right here, you can actually select one of them as your main character. So they have a few characters here that can be your main character. I know there's more characters in the game. Yeah, because there's just 6 characters you can pick from here. But I'm pretty sure there's a total of like maybe 10 companions you can get. But I guess only these ones can be your main character. So, as you notice, there's also one here at the end. This one is really interesting. It's called the Dark Urge, as you can see. This one can still be a custom character. You can select how this character looks, but they do have a different type of story. You know, the main story of the game is going to be the same, obviously involving with that creep in the beginning there. But this person, if you select the Dark Urge, you're literally going to have a Dark Urge inside of you. I don't really know the story behind it, but it'll give you different dialogue options that you wouldn't normally have if you were playing as any of the other characters, where you can do some really dark things. So that is one path you can take. You can either you can still pick the Dark Urge and then not do the dark things. The option will be there. And like you could do some kind of role-playing aspect where you've got the Dark Urge, but you're withstanding it. You know, you're holding it at bay and you're trying to be a good person. That could be a cool role-playing perspective thing. So yeah, these are the characters that you can play as, and that we will see in the game while we are playing. Also, there's a possibility that, this is me just starting up the game by myself, checking it out, but I do have some friends I am going to be playing this game with as well. So you might be able to see me playing with them at some later time. So I'll have some different things happening, different parts of the story, because playing this game by yourself, I'm going to be making all the decisions. But if I'm playing with my friends, then we're all going to have to work together, which, the more people involved, the more chaotic things can be. So I'm really excited for that. But for now, I'm just checking this out by myself. So custom character, we have the body type, which I've seen that you have male and female, but it looks like these are like the smaller, thinner versions, and then you can have like some bigger, bulkier versions. They also, for role-playing purposes, they also let you do, even though I have this male-looking character right here, I could make him a female or non-binary other. So options for everyone here, which is nice. So the first start of the character creation process is always your race. We have plenty of races here to choose from, and some of them even have sub-races. So take the classic elf, for instance. They have sub-races of either a high elf or a wood elf. So that's pretty cool. Basic description, a wood elf is usually one who's literally in the woods, living off the land. And then the high elves are still elves, but all ones who are in the actual cities and stuff like that. Also, sometimes they have differences, like the high elf is better at magic sometimes, whereas the wood elf is more about, as you see, stealth and stuff, because he lives in the wilds and used to hunting and stuff like that. So after you pick your race, you then pick your class. We have a really good amount of classes to choose from here. If anybody is, obviously, if you've played games like this before, anything in the fantasy genre, maybe have read some books, then you know a lot of these things. Some of them are, spelled out pretty easily for you. Barbarian, bard, obviously you might think, oh, a bard, that's just someone who sings. Well, in the D&D, Dungeons and Dragons realm, they're more than just singers. They have some combat specialties as well. Look at him, he's got his sword and his violin. Cleric, a good holy fighter here, sometimes used as a healer, but also decent fighter. Druid is all about nature magic. They can even turn into animals in some cases. We've got a fighter here who's basically just the bread and butter, basic guy who's got all the armor, got all the weapons. This is often suggested for a lot of people who are new to any genre of the game to take a fighter, because it's the easiest one to kind of grasp the concept of it. Monk, that's your martial artist, like you've seen in the Kung Fu movies, with a little bit of extra stuff thanks to their key actions that give them some nice spiritual energy powers to use in combat. Mainly hand-to-hand, but also can use some weapons like a staff, maybe some nunchucks, Paladin, basically a holy knight. He is a knight, but also has powers from a deity. That can, different types of powers, whether they be offensive or maybe some healing. You got your ranger, which is the nature person, archer. Ranger's probably one of the most seen things. Aragorn from Lord of the Rings is considered a ranger. Good with the sword, good with the bow. They can also have animal companions, maybe traveling with a wolf or something, a hawk, something neat like that. Rogue, the basic thing you would think of, a thief, someone who likes to sneak up behind people, stab them in the back, usually good at finding traps, disarming traps, getting all the loot and the treasure. Then you got the three main offensive magic classes. Yeah, they have more than just offensive spells, but that's what they're mainly known for. A simple description for people who are not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, there's the difference between these guys is the wizard's your typical guy that you think of. He's got his staff, he's got his spell book. He has to learn all his spells the old-fashioned way, basically. You got the sorcerer, who is a lot like the wizard, but he has his magic naturally. It's in his blood, or maybe, like it says right here, a gift. But other than that, they're very similar to wizards. The warlock is someone who is a bit different. They have usually less spells than the other two, but more powerful spells than the other two. And they also get their power from usually a deity or something, maybe a demon or something. They make a deal with them, and in exchange, they get power, kind of like making a deal with the devil type thing. So yeah, these are the classes. I'll just go ahead and just go Ranger. You get to pick some things here if you'd like. Each class has different things, as you can see, different things they're good at. Maybe spells, maybe they're proficient at certain things. And then, let's see, some passive, little different niches you can grab here. A bounty hunter. So makes them good at investigation. So they're more likely for investigation saving throws, they're called. Let's see. What else? What's a good one? Oh, here you go. Keeper of the Veil. You specialize in hunting creatures from other planes of existence. So some people might be better at hunting like wild game or animals or something. This guy hunts creatures from other planes of existence. Here's another set of one. Beast Tamer. See, very good with animals. They can cast the Find Familiar spell without expending a spell slot. So a spell slot is basically just a spot where you keep your spells. Usually when you cast a spell, that's taken now. It's gone. You can't cast another spell of that type or in that area. Whereas with this Find Familiar thing, you can cast that spell and it doesn't take one of your slots. So little different things like that. Then we've got a background. Now, some of this is good for role-playing type things. And, you're like it says, a background. So, let's see, criminal. There you go. You have a history of breaking the law and survive by leveraging less than legal connections. Profiting from criminal enterprise will lead to greater opportunities in the future. So, say I pick this background. There might be people I talk to who recognize me as a criminal or former criminal, and they might talk to me a certain way because of that. And then also, we have some skills that they help you out with as well. So, not only when I select the criminal, it might change, like I said, the way people interact with me, but then also, I am proficient in deception and in stealth. So, my character will be able to sneak around better because of his criminal history. And I'll also be able to lie and cheat, manipulate the truth a little bit better because of my history as a criminal. Whereas if I pick something like an entertainer, which would obviously be good for like the bard, I would be good at acrobatics and performance, naturally. So if you were a bard, you probably would want an entertainer for the most part, but that doesn't mean you can't pick something else. It's all up to you. And that's the great thing about games like this, is you can create the wildest combinations of things. Let's see. Outlander, see? Perfect for a ranger. Grew up in the wilds, learning to survive. I'm more skilled at athletic things and survival. And then we have, of course, your abilities. These are your stats, and depending on who you are is what you're good at. Now, for this one, they show a star beside dexterity because this is considered one of the main stats that a ranger would use. As you can see, they give you a little description of the stats. Dexterity, agility, reflexes, and balance affects your effectiveness with ranged and finesse weapons. Also affects your initiative and armor class. So, dexterity does a lot here. When it comes to agility, reflexes, and balance, that's more of a story and also gameplay kind of thing, where if I need to do something that I need to be agile to do, or if I need to have a reflex as far as like reacting to someone doing something to me, that's where dexterity comes into play. And then in combat itself, Dexterity helps whenever you used ranged weapons. So a ranger uses a bow. So naturally, they would need dexterity, right? So this is like, I guess, the recommended setup that they first start you off with, but you can always change things. And as you see, they have a point system up there, 27 points assigned. Now, if you notice, I just take away 1 point from wisdom, but it was 2 points up top there where the ability points are. That's because once you get your stat to a certain length, which it looks like right here at 14, it starts to take 2 points instead of 1. So if I lower my charisma, it's just taking 1 point away. That's it. So it all depends on how you want to play your game. There are a lot of these choices that may mean more to you than others. Depends on sometimes your party build-up too. The people who are going to be playing with you. You know? Charisma is mainly something when you're storyline-wise talking to people, for the most part. Any person can benefit from charisma if they want to talk to people and be able to convince them of things, have them like you. But then it's important for other jobs, as it says right here, bards, paladins, sorcerers, and warlocks, because this is the main stat they use when casting their spells. So it's extra important for them. Whereas a ranger, I could have the lowest charisma possible if I wanted to, but I could also boost it up a bit if I wanted to be better at talking with people. So yeah, that's basically how the stats work here. And let's see. They even got a little section right here, use recommended. So if I changed it and did some crazy stuff, and I went down here and used recommended, it popped me right back where I was, because that's what they suggest. Then skills, which we've already briefly talked about, but this is a really deep thing. So everybody has access to these skills, but what they're having you do here is you can pick 3 of them that you're proficient in. So you can do a little bit better. Like, you get a little added bonus when you're trying to do these things. So what they've given me is investigation, which helps with the hunting. Nature. So look, he knows things about plants and animals. And as a joke, it says he also hugs trees. So if I needed to know, like, say we're out and I needed to know if I could eat this plant, is this plant poisonous or not? Well, I'd be able to check with my nature skill and see if it was good, you know, if I could eat this plant. And then animal handling, a real good one, +4. So each one of these things is tied to a stat as well. So I'm proficient in investigation and nature, but notice it's only a +1. That's because of my intelligence. My intelligence is only 8, so it's not going to add a big boost. Whereas my wisdom, right here, is a 15. So for animal handling, which uses wisdom, I get a +4. Influence animals and pet all of the dogs. Extremely important. We like to pet the dogs. So, a lot of skills here to choose from. And that's why it's important. That's why you can't, in a lot of these games, sure, you could try to tackle it on your own, but you usually want a party. And each party member can help each other out. While this guy is doing investigation and nature and animal handling, you might want someone who's good at persuasion. See? Turn on the charm. You might need someone who's good at the stealth to sneak around. Hey, at some point you might need someone who's well-versed in history. So they have a little bit of knowledge walking into a situation, you know? All sorts of things. And then, of course, we have the appearance. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that we can select here. You see, we've got the body type, which we've already handled. The identity. We're going to be able to select a voice. We're going to be able to do the actual faces, the skin color. Maturity is probably age. You can have some freckles, the quantity, and the intensity. So, a lot of interesting stuff. Heterochromia, I think that's the eyes, right? Yeah, where they're 2 different eye colors. Yep. Can change the right eye and the left eye, 2 different colors. So that's pretty cool. give ourselves some tattoos, eye makeup, lips. We can give some scars, choose our hairstyle and color, get some highlights and some graying. We can do some piercings. There, like I said, is the genitals. So, as I said, all I have to do is click left or right on the hide clothes option, and I could be getting banned from Twitch. So we're not going to do that. Because I just started this, and I don't want to get banned already. So anyways, this is the, I guess the general gist here of the character creation process. So, yeah, it's not so bad. It took me about 25 minutes to go through all this. The previous video was a lot more detailed, and it was a lot to go through. So what I'm going to do now, like I said previously, is I'm going to end this stream now. I'm going to go ahead and create my character, and then I will restart the stream, and let's see how this game takes off. I hope you guys will join me, check this out, and I hope you enjoyed just seeing a little bit of the beginning here, learning a little bit about the game. But after this, less of the boring me explaining all the this and that, and more of the actual game. So, like I said, thank you again for watching, and I will be back, hopefully, very shortly. We'll see how long it takes me to create the character, because it's so in-depth.